And indeed, and what Richard and I do, I mean, I've always thought of myself as being a poet, and then I do many things. And there were, like another element, I mean, I've told you about the audio and the records and this and that, but I do poems, lithographs, silkscreen prints, the idea that visual art is indeed an extension of poetry that you do yourself, not as a collaboration. So I have a whole series of prints, silkscreen poem prints. And I don't do so much of it, so I don't have it. But it's the idea that you are just whatever you are, and everything is an extension of your mind. Rather than sort of like poetry being included in it, that's another, what you were saying was another point, that poetry was accepted into art or used in sculpture, but sort of the poet or the performance artist thinking themselves as the center, and then the sculpture or art is resolved as an extension of performance art.
It's an interview with Robert Lieu we have published. He said that it's a performance art to first permit to the contemporary art to go to the museum. Very interesting. He told this in the interview because in Europe he said it was the first public manifestation that arrived in museums when there was some performance artist. After this, the museum or museology must take care of contemporary art. Is the theory of Robert I see in the last interview he made.
And that came in with the happenings, no? Happenings were the things that went into the museums?
Yes.
The first...
He said this performance opened the door of contemporary art in the museum. Robert Lieu.
And indeed, I think it was like happening. Nobody ever considers those happenings who was performing arts, but that was that first moment when they performed, in Judson or wherever those places were, which was one-off spontaneous pieces. Is that considered one of the beginning of or early part of performance art formally? The happenings people, Capra, I mean, all those people that went on to become. The reason they went on to be like Klaus Oldenburg, he went on to become a painter as Klaus Oldenburg. But in reality, he did the story of those events at Judson Church. They were just artist performances, performance art, artist performance. And I don't think they were ever considered as one of the genitals. They didn't pick up, or they.
Some people do now. Some people do now include that story.
Monsieur.
Thank you.
Thank you.